everybody to the Shovelhed podcast. I want to welcome you guys to what I'm trying to do is bring together the community in a way that will allow Shovelhed's 13,000 followers to meet everybody else's thousands of followers. And when we work in a situation like this, for me, it makes the Florida scenes a little bit smaller so that we can all reach each other, and so that when we're talking about each other, everybody knows who we're talking about, and or knows that another band is supporting another band, and you guys will more than likely go out to check them out. And I think that that's important, and I think it is the only way for us to be able to change the scene here in Florida. So I want to welcome back my guest, Jay Morrison. He is the drummer from the band Human Clay.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
These we got new microphones, so the audio should be fucking perfect. And what you guys are getting right now is just the live stream that's only going to be up for 15 days. I'll premiere this episode next week, next Wednesday at noon, and then you'll get like the final cuts, the copies, all of it, the way that it's supposed to look. And that's the thing that'll stay up permanently, because Facebook deletes Facebook live videos within 15 days. But anyway, so I kind of hooked up the studio inside the house this time, just because the aesthetics are a shitload better. And
this is fantastic, man. You did a great job. I mean, really, really is. This is definitely I'm loving it.
It's fucking. If I panned around, you guys would see chickens everywhere, and just all my musical history over the years is kind of scattered all over the house, and my collection of beautiful baby guitars. So. One more thing before I get into Jay. This is what I'm drinking today. I want to introduce you guys to Daisy Drinks. I am non-sponsored, not endorsed. However, if you're watching or if somebody tags them, I would love to talk to you about this. This is the only thing that I'm going to say. I don't drink alcohol because I have Crohn's disease, and alcohol totally affects my stomach and my system. And it sucks, because who doesn't like to get a little bit tipsy, a little drunk every once in a while? I'm a THC connoisseur, 100%. And I found these the other day at Total Wine, a Daisy Social Soda, 10 milligrams, fucking best stuff. I've tried a lot of them.
Yeah.
These are the best. And they're not too strong that they knock you out.
Yeah.
Where like the 20 milligram ones that I had.
Yeah, you're out cold.
I'm done. You can't drive. You can't, you're going right to bed on that shit. So cheers to all you fuckers.
Very cool.
Now, the trick to the mustache, though, is you got to have a straw. So when I gig in my microphone stand, I usually have like a sippy cup. That's what we've graduated to as
I know,
older
right?
guys.
I know.
We're back to sippy fucking cups. So I have a sippy cup with a straw in it, because trying to manage drinks and food with a mustache and beard like this is impossible. So 3 weeks ago, Jay was here, and we were talking about your schedule, a lot about Long Island and about growing up, and about our views on the way to approach professionalism in what we do. And yesterday I was I'm pretty good at leading conversations, but I always, in my mind, I try to think what are some of the topics that I want to hit. And yesterday I posted a question. You liked the question, so now I want to get your answer. Is that, do you remember was there a moment for you that you said, music is my life?
Yeah, there was, actually. I got to say, it's probably the first time I played on the stage at Sundance on Long Island. When I played there, and I got to play a Friday night, and the people were there for us, and I just saw that. I was like, this is going to be my life. It was just a great feeling. It just it just showed for me everything that I ever like tried the years that I was working on, just playing in my bedroom, playing my drums and everything.
Right.
And then I finally
never got to play Sundance.
Oh my God. It was just,
never did.
it was, you know, it was a place that we all went to actually see all bands that became like Guns N' Roses.
It was on Long Island. It was the place for touring band.
Yeah.
Any touring band.
And to finally walk on that stage that so many of these bands had already played and I was doing it, it was just like, wow, this is what I want.
When I met Tony Cianciato, another guy from Long Island that is down here in Florida, I was very jealous of him because he had already played some, he's a few years older than me.
Yeah.
But he had already done Sundance, and I was like, I was in awe.
Yeah, it was just like, I mean,
and then it shut down.
Yeah,
before I could ever get on that stage.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I mean, I was fortunate. I got to play there probably at least a dozen times, you know. But the first time that I actually stepped on that stage and just the sound system and the can lights and just knowing who I've seen there already, it was like that I was able to actually do that. That was when I knew this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Do you remember who you opened for?
Yes. Oh God, what? It's not April Wine. It was this weird.
That actually would have been a cool show.
It was this weird band from the 70s from Europe. Jesus, I can't remember the name of the band. It's just escaping me. It was the most odd pairing.
Yeah.
I will say that.
That was a fucking problem with that place.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know how Frank booked, but there were a lot of weird pairings.
It really was.
Man.
And like I said, it was just such an odd pairing that we played with them. But it was just great. It was like, you know, the place was packed. It's first time, you know, I had played before, you know, but you played Sundays or Thursdays. You never got a chance. That was a total different atmosphere when you played those. You had like 15, 20 people there if you were lucky. Right. You know, and then
you had to sell tickets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you had to go there and get the paper tickets that they hand wrote on there for you, and you had to
go out. That was your pay.
Yeah.
It was the only way to get paid was that you had to go out and sell the tickets.
And I remember that show, I think it was $8 to get in.
Yeah.
You know, it was an $8 event.
Now, dude, if you even mention $5 here in Florida, they freak the fuck out.
It was just it was insane. And to have this, it was like to have that ticket, the Sundance paper ticket with their logo on it. And even though your name's only handwritten in there, it was still like, wow, this is
somewhere here, among my scrapbooks and shit. I have all my flyers from the Roxy.
Yep, I have them too.
Do you? Yeah. I have flyers. I have the playbill ticket. You remember what the Hammerheads used to give you?
Yep.
Like a strip.
Yep.
And it had all the bands that were playing, the times they were playing, and you circled your name.
Yep.
You had to sell the ticket.
Yep.
And that was how you got anything.
Yeah. Yep. But that
February. It was February.
Yes, it was February. Yeah. It was February 1st, then changed to Hammerheads. Yep. Yeah. That was actually my first show ever. Was a Sunday afternoon at February.
No shit.
Yeah, and
any of you guys that have grown up on Long Island know what we're talking about. For those of you that don't, which I forget to base this at the beginning of this thing, is that I noticed, we think based in the area that we're in. Yeah. And I forget that there's people from all over the fucking world watching this, right? Yeah. So we're based on the east coast of Florida. Mm-hmm. We're presently in Vero Beach. And the thing about, this was another thing I wanted to touch base on with you was the touring. Mm-hmm. So, and I know I'm switching subjects.
No, good.
But my brain does not work like anybody else's.
Mine either.
But
that's how we get along.
I was telling you a little bit earlier about the, when I work here, the way I work here is that I try to find the mover and the shaker in every scene. Yep. And befriend them.
Yeah, of course.
And over the last couple of years, especially this year, all the work that I've been doing behind the scenes, making connections, meeting people, and all this stuff has really, really, really come to. It's just about to boil to a point where it's going to benefit everybody.
I agree. Yeah.
Between the Indian River entertainment thing that I have going, and my buddy Vic, who's the booking guy at OCC, he runs Tampa Bay Music Network.
Yep.
We're working on a new way to be able to route all of the better bands from all of the areas where we have a venue in the Treasure Coast. And then through our relationships with Karen Laser, we're hoping to build a relationship in Orlando. And then from there to Tampa at OCC. And then from Tampa down to Twisted Fork. Yeah. Which for a start would be a 4-stop, fully professional gig route.
And that's the perfect way to do it. I agree with you. That's like, now we're getting into
you're moving a lot.
Yeah, and we're going out of state, but what we're doing the same thing, and our agent is doing that where he's like, I'm making you a route. So, Rich and
his partner
and his top guy Chris is actually he does a lot of our out of state stuff. He's in Chris Danforth. He's in Hardwired.
Okay.
The Metallica tribute band. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Great band too.
Yeah, they are. They're playing at Revolution live June 27th with Godsmacked.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. So it's going to be a pretty cool show. And actually, he's actually doing this Saturday.
My buddy Johnny Pharisee, the boxer.
Yeah, he's in Godsmacked. Yeah.
Good band.
We're playing with them at the Boca Black Box in September.
Oh, sweet.
So we put it together. We called it Legends Unleashed. We're trying to promote it that way. But so Chris is doing it like one of the things he's doing for me. He's doing like, I want to do it where it's like a 6-hour run. So like you play here, so your next show is going to be 6 hours away. So even if we play and then we travel to that area and stay,
you could sleep.
Yeah, we could sleep and do that. So we're in the middle of all that, and it's important because then it makes, you're right, it builds up quality everywhere.
Yeah. So when my original years were done, it was kind of a very crazy 2007 for me, where I had a divorce. My band of 12 years broke up, fired me because I was an asshole. That's, I could be honest. We laugh about it now, but and it was a band I built. So go figure.
Yeah.
I joined an Omnipop in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and most of California is a booking agency to handle all of the top cover bands.
Yep.
So I joined that band, Green Machine. Green Machine's schedule through Omnipop was you played like 4 or 5 places starting in Montauk, Long Island, and then like Bayshore, Nutty Irishman, and then you go to the Long Beach Inn, and then you would play. We would bypass Manhattan and we would go play in Connecticut, and then the next weekend we'd be in Boston, and then the next weekend we'd be in New Hampshire or wherever, because it was all routed. You could be everywhere within 4 hours. Yeah, like I could be from my house to Boston in 4 hours. Yeah. So if I left on a Thursday, you get there Thursday night, you spend the night, you go have some fun, you play Friday and Saturday, you go home, and we were making like $4,000 for each band. So that was an $8,000 weekend. Yeah. You'd had no complaints.
No, not at all. No, not at all.
And that's what I wanted to see here. Yeah. Except that I found that the bands fall into this trap, or fell into a trap. Somehow, this trap of a scene was built where bands don't even leave their fucking town.
No, and and you're correct in that. And it is like I said, I agree with you 100%. When you're starting to do heavy hitters and you're utilizing these larger venues that will support you as well. Yeah. it's a win-win for everybody.
A win-win-win. For the sake of argument, 10 minutes before you got here, I get an email from Vic that the promo guy wants a Eat Crow video so that they can put up the Eat Crow more promo work. None of my other venues ever asked me, and I'm not going to say that. My venues ask. Like Connolly's, she sends me messages a month ahead of time. Don't forget to put this person on the flyer for her birthday or whatever, and I create the flyers and I send them. But most venues don't ask you for shit.
Nope.
And I had this conversation with Karen yesterday. Again, Karen Laser, who I was telling Ray West this last week is that it's funny because another group of musicians badmouthed me to Karen, told Karen that I hated her and all this other shit.
The fucking noise is it's just bullshit.
What kills me is that's what the scene my life growing up on Long Island was like. That asshole guys trying to fuck over someone else for themselves. So I ended up having this conversation with her, and it turns out that like I think we live in each other's mind. Yeah. She can finish my sentences when we talk. And we were talking yesterday about a venue that she was working with. And she's going to be on here, so I'm going to have her tell the story because it's really important. But that she spent like her own money on flyers, posters.
I've witnessed that.
She's not in the fucking band.
I know.
All she does is book the gig.
Yeah.
She booked the gig for the band. She brought all this information to the venue. The venue never put it up, and they told her flat out, "We don't have the time. We don't want to put that stuff up."
I know. And then what kills me is that then when the place isn't packed, they want to throw it on.
They cut the band. $300,
and it's like, but you know what? This is your place.
You hired me,
right? Exactly.
To entertain
your crowd. Yeah, I agree, and that's what I've firsthand witnessed, Karen. And I got to say, I did the benefit for her. She's so organized and so diligent in everything she did.
You have to be an agent.
Yeah, she really, I mean, I've been very fortunate lately, between dealing with her and my agency is Maximum. It's just, they are off the charts for us.
Yeah.
What
I'm trying to work out is getting myself, Victor Lima, Rich Rubin, and Karen all at a table to do a podcast. So that so we can actually discuss all these. To us, I think the problem is it's just natural.
Yeah.
And it's like it frustrates the shit out of me because I don't know how to teach properly. Only way I can do it is to just do it by example. And then throw it in your face and say, trust me, watch, look. I was not taught.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I got to figure, and they're all the same way.
Yeah.
Karen's that way.
Yeah.
Rich is that way. All of Rich's experience comes from touring on the scene.
Yeah. And you know what? What I also find is that people are so stuck in their ways that when somebody tries to help them, instead of taking it as constructive criticism, they take it as like a knock against them, and it's not.
Right.
I learn every day. I watch everything you do. Rich and his team, I'm always forever going, what is your opinion? What am I missing?
Yeah.
What can I do to get to the next level?
And then look and try. It's not always going to work for you. But
have an open mind.
Yeah.
Have a fucking open mind about it, and I see some of the clubs right now, some of the venues that now we're getting booked in. Yeah, they are just like you said. Give me all the promotional stuff.
Yeah.
We want to rotate it. We want people to see, what they're getting here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you.
The thing is and people are going to argue with me, but I honestly, truly feel that it's venues like the Twisted Fork and OCC that are where every musician in Florida is trying to book into those two
Yes.
venues because they. If you guys don't know those two venues, the venues are indoor outdoor. Okay, so it's a massive stage at both places, 60 feet or 35, 40 feet wide by 25, 30 feet deep. It's a professional stage with professional lighting, professional sound team, and it is under a steel graded awning that is 50 feet tall, or 30 feet tall, with giant fans, immense fans underneath, and the size of a football field.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's hailing, which now lately it seems we're getting hail in Florida. Raining or hailing or hurricaning or fucking there's tornadoes going through. You're going to stay dry.
Yeah.
And you can still throw a concert.
Yeah.
And it's a place where a band can walk into and have the complete and utter comfortability knowing that the crew is so professional that you didn't have to bring your own sound man with you. And it's going to be a professional show and sound and mix and everything. And I'm thinking the new owners of Buddha Live, they have to be noticing that change in that area because I'm seeing their advertising.
Well, we'll be there Friday night. I'll let you know.
I saw that. Well, that actually screws me up too in the understanding in the algorithm was it could also be in my feed more now because you're in my feed more now, which means the things that you're interacting with, like Buddha Live or show. The algorithm is such a fucking a disaster to try to understand. And just as you think you mastered it,
it changes.
It changes. Everything changes. Or like, I spent the whole week promoting that I'm going to live stream into the Facebook group, not the page. And I get to turn on the fucking stream this morning to test it, and it tells me you can no longer stream in Facebook groups using the app that I use. And I'm like, fuck me, man. It's like if something is always changing with this thing.
It really is. But it's, I am very appreciative. Like, I love that we all are supporting each other because, again, at the end of the day, the more we all succeed, the more the venues succeed, and the more the venues are going to get behind us. That's right. And that's what ultimately we want. It's a partnership. It's a partnership between the venue and the acts that they're bringing in.
Yeah. And neither entity is going to stay and remain successful unless they continue to work as a team. Is that a venue cannot solely rely on the clientele of a band.
No.
And a band cannot solely rely
it's got
on the clientele of the bar. So it only makes sense. This was another analogy that I came up with the other day, and it's kind of if you have any teenage kids, by the time they reach 12 or 13 years old, trying to get a fucking return text message from them is impossible. And so you get to the point where you get so frustrated that you tell your kid, listen, when you're taking a shit, you can text me back.
It takes 2 seconds.
2 seconds to send me back a text message. So this is what I say to every single venue, every bartender, every bar owner, every band member, everybody. You're the only reason why your venues are failing. You're the only reason why your band is failing. Because if you took 2 seconds while you were taking a shit to promote your fucking entity, it would be successful. I can guarantee it. Because it takes 2 posts a day. If you have less than 10,000 followers, it takes 2 posts a day for you to get into an algorithm cycle.
Right.
The minute you stop posting those 2 times a day, you're no longer in the cycle anymore.
Right. Exactly.
If you have 10,000 followers or more, the more you post, the more you reach. And then the more what happens in that algorithm is that the more I like your posts, the more my friends see your posts in their feed as a suggested this and a suggested that. When you reach a certain level of promoting within Facebook, You can watch it on, they give you graphs, they give you charts, they give you fucking everything. You can watch it change. And what everyone should do is spend a little bit of time understanding the business analytics of it, because it'll tell you.
Yep.
It'll tell you exactly what is your best performing posts.
Yep, and it'll tell you your age range, your area,
age, the whole 9 yards. You want to know it. Google Analytics, which is what I had on my Facebook, on my website. That's how I learned all this years and years and years ago. Was one day I stumbled into the Google Analytics of my website. Yeah, and I was like, holy shit! Ukraine, I got like 8,000 hits from fucking Ukraine one day.
It's unbelievable when
So then I started I want to study this. And when that became an option on Facebook, it instantaneously changed the game for me. I have videos that we posted that have over 400,000 streams and get views and get shared all over the world. And I don't understand how. I don't know how that one
goes, but
it went.
Yeah, I started getting it once I started doing that once I started buying ads. And then I was watching it and I was like, oh, okay, so now I could see, okay, this is the demographic.
Right, because if you're paying for it, you want to see some results.
And then all of a sudden, from my first ad maybe reached like 2,000 people, all of a sudden I was reaching 25,000 people. And I'm like, oh, wow. And then I could look in there and see, okay, so 18 to 25 is so 25 to 55 was my main demographic,
right?
And then it will show you the areas, where you're succeeding and where you're really not doing anything,
right?
And then you can always change, especially in the edge, you could then target those markets, and still.
Well, I learned this from Eric, my bass player Eric Stone, has an on and off again original band called Carnival. The singer Atlantica Pacifica does a lot of solo stuff, and she's put out like a couple of LPs and all this other stuff. And one day, a video came across, and it had she had just put it up. And within 24 hours, she had like 55,000 fucking views.
Wow.
And I called Eric and I'm like, dude, how the fuck did she do that?
Yeah.
Because she's like us. She's just somebody in Florida.
Yeah.
She put up her stuff, and so he asked her, and this is how I learned this. If you're an original band or you're a cover band in your plan is not to play in your area, you want to tour, right? If you Google, say, what state and town is Journey the biggest band in, you'll get that result.
Yeah,
if you target your ads for that specific area, all of a sudden, your videos blow up, all this other shit blows up. So. If you're even as a cover band, like the smart move is to Google where is Creed the most popular, and then you start targeting that fucking area heavy, because that's where you're going to get the $10,000.
$20,000. Us starting to go out of state, we're starting to see some of the states like the Carolinas. I would have never thought they're huge on Creed.
Huge.
I'm like.
The whole country is fucking huge on Creed.
Well, yeah.
So this was the smartest fucking thing you ever did, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming up on actually July is a year that we're together, and we'll be 6 months with Maximum. And in the last 6 months, I'm like, I've watched I've seen my little vision that I had and the guys jump on board, and it's just exploded. And I'm like watching, and I'm like, wow, this is, I'm like, I can't believe I had to wait until I'm in my 50s to get this.
Fucked up part.
Yeah,
is that because we had to raise families.
Yeah, exactly.
And on Long Island, we had to work 12-hour days.
Oh, just to live.
Yeah. So
You actually live to work.
I often say to myself, like, could I have become more successful had I not lived in New York? And then the counterpoint to that is that I would never own the knowledge that I have.
Yeah, exactly.
Had I lived anywhere else.
Yeah,
You know, it's like trying to become an actor and moving to fucking Dallas.
That's
not going to work.
That's where we got our bones from.
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly what it is. You know, good, better, and different. That's where, you know, we learned the highs and the lows. And there was many lows. Many lows, you know, and doors shut in your face and everything else. And just the competition was next level at that time. So I'm grateful for that in that aspect, you know, and it definitely has brought me to where I am now. And, you know, my understanding's a lot better of everything. And obviously, you know, from then till now, the music business has changed drastically, you know. And
I joke with Ray West, from Spread Eagle Ray West, all the time. You know, they're all originals.
Yeah.
And
we got to play with them at the autism benefit.
Karen works with them too.
Yeah.
I joke with him all the time because, you know, I'm going to buy him a bag of cashews when he reaches 1 million Spotify streams because, dude, that's that side of the music business. I don't want anything to do with.
No, it's
I don't.
Too
and
much.
You know what? I wrote a fucking song yesterday. First song I wrote in 13 fucking years. And I said I got all excited because I've been wanting to write a specific style. I came up with this fucking great riff. All of a sudden, the melody hit the head. Sat down. Put the Pro Tools on, put it in there, recorded it, and then I looked at myself and I'm like, why am I going to fucking bother with this?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
because the amount of work that it would take for me to record it, release it, promote it, and fucking all that other shit, it ain't worth it.
I mean, look at the work we do right now for what we're doing. It's got to be 100 times even more intense, you know, just to get that little move the needle just a little bit. I was
myself last night because I was sitting outside for 5.5 hours. Like I didn't realize what time it was. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was still up working.
Wow.
And I
remember those days.
I'm like that every day though, but I it's a thing. Like, it's a.
No, I
focus. It's the only way I can get through life is to focus on the project and work at it.
My wife knows the ringtones on my phone, and she's like, "Oh, business time," and I'm like, "Yeah." And you know, I mean, she's amazing and so supportive to me, you know. So I'm grateful for that. But it's just so funny. She's just like, you know, like I said, the last 6 months, everything has just totally changed for me and for the band.
But it's 24/7.
Yeah, it is. I'm constantly. I'm constantly, you know, and sometimes like I'm constantly like not that I know I'm not bugging them, but I'm like, you know, I'm always trying to throw ideas to like Rich and to the guys, you know, and they're like, we're on it. I'm like, I know. I'm just, you know, I'm trying to stay present.
It's hard, dude.
Yeah,
it's hard to sit back.
Yeah, it is.
And let the person that's the pro do. Like it's hard for me too.
Yeah.
You know, I have an issue with exclusivity contracts of any kind.
Yeah.
Specifically because I can't.
Yeah.
I can't just sit back and allow somebody else to have control of me.
Yeah, I'm the same way, but you know what it did for me though.
Rich is watching right now, and he's going to say, "I am never working with this motherfucker."
No, what it has allowed me to do, which I'm grateful for, is that I actually stop worrying so much. I'm more just, you know, my ideas.
Yeah.
And I've been able to focus more on the music, you know, and like, you know, it was a question I was actually going to ask you because. When this happened for you and your band, you know, we finally felt like our last show, we hit our stride. We're banging on all cylinders.
Yeah.
And like, we actually walked off and we were like, we got it. It clicked. You know, every piece kind of finally clicked in.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it gave us such excitement, you know, and now that we have all these shows coming up and everything, we're so confident where we're going next. When did that happen for you guys?
It was a year ago when Eric Neal, our new guitar player, when he joined the band, it was Shovelhed has had 5 lead guitar players. We chew them up, we spit them out. Yeah. It's rugged.
Yeah.
The way we play is fucking rugged, and it doesn't.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it.
But a year ago, we were having some problems, and it came time that I needed a sub for an emergency situation, and Eric filled in, and he played, and this kid fucking shows up, non-reheartsed, like. Down here, rehearsals are hard.
Yeah.
Patrick is West Palm Beach. Eric is in Homestead. Other Eric is in Stewart, and I'm in Vero. So trying to organize practices is fucking hard.
Yeah.
It really is. He shows up. He knew every fucking song and all the backups, but not just all the backups. All the high, like the Michael Anthony fucking backups. And I literally had a fucking semi-erection like the whole night because it was like everything that I had been trying to get in that band finally all happened in one fucking night with the change of one guy, because Patrick is amazing.
Yes.
Eric is fucking amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not that any of my other guitar players were not amazing, but they didn't have the voice and the enthusiasm and the playing. And then all of a sudden, like the attitude of every single guy in the band
changes. Yeah.
And so much so that at the end of every fucking gig, Eric Stone turns to me and says, dude, this fucking band is just amazing.
It's such a great feeling when that happens.
That's his own personal feelings. That's not the feeling that's coming from, the drunk girl in the front that loves some child of mine. That's his own personal feelings. And that's the same personal feeling every guy in the band has. It's like Eric Neal, 4-hour drive. It's a 4-hour commute to Daytona.
Yeah.
He doesn't fucking care.
Yeah.
Doesn't complain, doesn't care. Not that I did this too, so at some point it's going to wear on him. But he shows up to the fucking gig happier than a pig in shit to play for 4 fucking hours, collect a nice amount of money, and then go home.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is that in Florida, I've heard guys complain about this. Yeah, but I don't want to waste the money on the gas. So think about this one. If your car is fucking economical, gas is not the problem. I drive to and from OCC in Clearwater from Vero Beach on $30 worth of gas, and I have a quarter of a tank left when I get back home. If let's say hypothetically, each band member is making $400, which is completely possible.
Right.
You're actually going home with $370 for your 4-hour show.
Yeah.
That's well above triple minimum wage.
Yep.
At this point, you're just being fucking lazy. That's the only answer.
I agree. Or like, I set it up as a business.
Me too. Yeah. Shovelhed is a business.
Yeah. And so is Human Clay. We're set up as a business. So, and all the guys, just like your band, we're all in agreement on it. I say, guys, look, okay, we're making X amount of dollars out of it. I'm going to take like $200 out every show and keep it in our account so that we can use that as an expense.
Right.
So
this is how we all did it on Long Island. Didn't you? I knew bands, including my own, that had like we had our own rehearsal space and we had a jar in there. Yeah. And no matter when we went, you dropped $5 in the jar.
Yeah.
At the end of whatever amount of time, that now you're not taking $300 out of your fucking pocket.
Yep, exactly.
It's coming out of.
But you got to have the people that want to do that and understand that.
Hungry.
Yeah, and that's like just like you got fortunate with your guys, I got fortunate with my guys, and it's like they're like, absolutely, Jay, that's a great idea. I said, so this way, I said, eventually. Anything we're doing, whether it's merchandise or anything, we're not taking it out of our pockets.
Right.
We're reinvesting into our product.
It's the only way. Complete transparency.
Yep.
Is the only way to run any single band, even if you're the guy who says, I'm taking the extra $100 because I booked the band, I have the PA. Now everybody in the band may not agree. However, those are the ground rules that need to be laid out way up front because it's the only way to keep everybody happy.
I do it after every show the next day. I go, guys, we made X amount of dollars. the agent got this is their percentage, what they got. This is what I took out for, incidentals, and this is what's left broken down, and each guy gets X amount of dollars.
Right.
I go, I just want to be transparent. And everybody's like, Jay, you don't have to be. I'm like, no, I do have to be, because it makes me feel good, and it should make you guys feel good knowing that I'm being transparent with it.
The bonus to that is that at some point in time, you're going to need to replace somebody for one reason or another. And I'm not saying that's the thought process. Oh, I'm just going to fire you if you don't work out. Somebody's going to say, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, it's
inevitable.
Yeah, it happens.
The reputation that you walk away with as the band leader is going to have every ace guy
wanting to play in your band. Yeah, and I agree.
Because people will now. It's like something I said the other day too, but I say a lot. The other day is that when you're in a chain of music and music scenes, it's a pyramid.
Yeah.
You start at the bottom, you work your way up levels till you get to the top.
Yep.
Each level you go, you're not hanging out with the people below you anymore. You're hanging out with the people that are on your level or above your level. On your level, you're rooting for each other.
Absolutely.
Above your level, you're trying to achieve that. And usually the guys that are above your level don't have a fucking problem offering you a little bit of advice.
Yep.
Now, it is competitive, so they do not want you to succeed better than them.
Right. They're not going to give you the holy grail.
But that when you're getting into this fucking game.
Right.
If you think that I see people post it all the time that music's not a competition. If you honestly believe that, you are living in a fantasy fucking world and a fantasy land, because it is. It's a competition with you. It's a competition with the next band who wants the gig.
Right.
It's a competition, with your crowd. It's there's so much competition.
But it's how you handle it and how you, and that's my biggest, a lot of the posts that you do and I read and I comment on is about that. It's like, I'm about uplifting the bands that want to continue to uplift each other.
Right. I'm the same way.
If you're going to be,
I'll write them off.
Exactly. If you're going to be monopolized and you're just going to be a shit talker and, it's all noise, then no. But you know what? All the bands that we actually deal with, I want to promote them as much as I promote us. When we were playing shows with Suffer, they're a great Stain tribute band, phenomenal. I wanted to. All the promotion was 50-50. It was everything together. We're doing this thing with Godsmacked and the Boca Black Box. We're constantly on the phone together coming up with ideas, and everybody's got a good, Johnny, like you said, he's awesome at making these videos. Right. He's fantastic. My guy Randy's great at all the graphics and stuff. I was like, I'm going to hook you guys up. I know you guys can blow this out of the park together.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, I love watching your videos. I'm always commenting. The band is fucking off the charts, man. You guys always nail it.
Not always.
Well, whatever I've seen so far, I'm like, and I enjoy watching. I'm like, and especially like when you put your own twist on it, it's like makes me re-love the song again. That's the how many times.
That's why I like to do it that way. It gets to the point where. Thank you for the compliment. It gets to the point where I have people now saying that when they hear the original version on the radio, it sounds wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm
like, wow.
Like everybody plays separate ways. The way you guys did, it makes me enjoy, appreciate the song again.
And it's funny that you say that because I have some folks that bust my balls for us doing Journey until they heard the way we do Journey.
Yeah,
it's like. Almost Steve Perry, but it drives.
Yeah,
everything drives. It's
exactly.
Heavy. It's
exactly, and that's again.
It makes me fall in love with the song again. Too.
Exactly, and it's not stagnant.
Right. Like Sweet Child of Mine was a thorn in my side for 25 fucking years. I was like, God, please, I don't want to play this.
And everybody wants to hear that fucking song.
Everyone.
Yeah.
It's one of the songs that you could be playing. You could be playing your first 4 choices in a night and people are not on the dance floor And then you could say, okay, play. This is what I do.
Mm.
If they're slowly getting into it, and
Yep.
then I'll turn to Eric and I'll say, just play fucking Sweet Child of Mine. Fourth song, boom, full dance floor.
Yeah.
You know, and so, but I hated it. I hated it because doing it over and over and over and over and over again with this band, I fucking love doing it because Eric does all the high harmonies in it where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
You know, and Patrick drives it. We have to pull Patrick back because
I have to say, I'm enamored watching Patrick play.
Yeah.
As a drummer,
everyone is.
No, I mean,
he knows it, and it fucking drives us crazy.
As a drummer, I mean the respect I have for him, watching him, I'm like, and he makes it look so effortless. I'm like,
you know, it was like that Bobby Rondinelli.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yes.
Growing up on Long Island, you know, he was the guy.
He's the guy. Yeah,
he was the guy. If you don't know who Bobby Rondinelli is,
he was in Rainbow.
He is the actual drummer on the entire Scorpions Love at First Sting album. He was in Black Sabbath. The Tony Martin era, and the sweetest fucking guy on the planet.
And just like the most effort. I mean, watching him, it's like watching butter.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, he's so smooth. And Patrick is the same way.
It used to crack me up because Bobby, I don't want to say anything negative. In the 2000s, Bobby was a little chubby. And when you used to see Bobby play, like you'd never see his fucking arms move. No. It was just his wrists playing fucking everything. And
he does these things with the cymbals, and it's like, and he washes them like in this way. And I'm like, I try to do it
in awe. I'm just
I try to do it. I'm like, forget it. I'm not even going to do it. I can't even get it.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I love watching, when I watch Patrick, he's got such incredible ride patterns that he does. And his feet are like,
they're the fastest feet.
They're incredible. You know, so I gotta say, mad respect to Patrick for that.
Yeah, Patrick.
Yeah, absolutely. He really is. I love watching other drummers. It inspires me. So I'm not, you know, to me, I know.
Well, yeah, that's how that's the sign of a good musician, is that you're never feeling that you have plateaued as the best. There's always somebody to inspire you to do better, to sing better, to play better, to whatever.
When we talked last time, remember I told you, you know, starting to do Creed, I had to change my drumming style.
Yeah.
You know, and...
Did you ever see the singer from Rocket Fly?
Yes. Oh my God, ridiculous.
So I'm flipping through Facebook the other day, and last night, as a matter of fact, when I told you I was out there fucking working, I'm going to Facebook, and this Journey tribute band thing comes up, and I see that it's kind of a faraway shot, and I see who I swear is the guy from Rocket Fly. I think his name is Pedro or something.
Yes.
I don't know them.
No.
I just know
from the videos. Yes.
That I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, you remember Hugo
Valentine.
Okay. So Hugo was the Journey tribute band.
It's like
there was no one else.
You could just close your eyes
and fucking Pedro.
Yeah,
it's done. It's a done fucking deal. I'm telling you. When I'm one of those guys that when I see fucking talent.
Yeah. Of course.
God almighty, you got to tell people about it.
Of course. And that's just like you said, that just shows a true musician that you are, you know. I mean, I love watching other musicians. You know, and like I said, to me it inspires me. I'm always, you know, me and my wife talk. I'm like, my wife's, you know, she's my biggest fan, and I'm grateful for that. You know, and I'm always like, I'm okay. I always am learning.
Right.
I want to learn, because the moment I stop learning and the moment that I get complacent, then it's like, why?
Yeah.
Then you might as well stop.
Why do I exist?
You know, I want to continue to learn.
Have you ever suffered from depression?
Yes.
Ever in your life?
Yeah.
Okay. So. If you never have, most people, I think 86% of the people in the world have suffered from depression and anxiety. You know, there was a point in my life where my depression was so fucking bad I couldn't get out of bed. Like literally, I would spend 3 or 4 days in bed. It's that feeling.
Yeah,
like you can't be complacent in this, otherwise you end up like that.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm
No.
like, no way, man. I'm going to work my ass off.
And I'm
every day.
doing that now in every part of
This
what I
morning
do.
I was up at 6 a.m. filming chicken videos.
Yeah,
Are you fucking
I'm
shitting
up.
me?
I'm up in the morning before my work schedule starts, and I'm sitting there going, you know, I'm doing all my promotions and
Yeah.
everything. I'm on the phone with Rich. You know,
Right.
we're going back and forth. You know, so for me, I'm like looking at it. I'm going, I'm learning everything, relearning everything,
Relearning everything.
and learning
Florida
it
is
better.
different because it's evolving
Yeah.
slowly,
Mhm.
but it's evolving. It is.
Mhm.
And so, look, man, if you're the type of guys like us, where you're willing to put in all of that work,
Hmm.
5 years from now, you're going to own the state.
Yeah.
It's a guarantee.
Yeah.
Because it is, there's a few things going on in the industry that the general public doesn't pay attention to,
Mhm.
or is not aware of. Number one, alcohol sales are down,
Yeah. Hmm.
drastically down,
Hmm.
all over the United States.
Yep.
Alcohol sales are down. So that becomes an issue, and this is not tariff related. Don't think it's tariff. This has been going on for the last 2 or 3 years now. That alcohol purchases and sales have dropped,
Hmm.
and so now when that happens, nobody really wants to be at a bar sober. You go to a
Mhm.
bar in order to have a couple of fucking drinks.
Yeah.
And you're either getting a little bit lit or a lot of bit lit,
Right.
or socializing. Well, when you take away the alcohol, you remove the socializing.
Hmm.
So there has to become an alternative to this. Now, of course, the cannabis companies are putting out their
Yep.
alternative to it, which
Mhm.
I hope the bars will embrace, because what's going to end up happening here in Florida is it's going to get to a point where they're going to be forced, mark my words, going to be forced to start issuing cover charges.
Yeah.
They're going to be forced into it
Yeah.
because they're losing money.
Yeah.
Because the bands are not where they used to rely on the bands to draw for them. A lot of the bands are not
Yep.
drawing. Only specific bands are drawing,
Hmm.
and those bands' prices are triple what they were
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yep. Yeah.
Because the bands are smart.
Yeah.
The bands are now guys that walked into the situation and said, "This is not working right. This is not how this works.
Yeah.
I'm going to build and build and build and build and build and build. And then at some point, we're going to reverse this. When you call me and ask me for a gig, I'm going to ask you what you're offering me.
Hmm.
And if you are not offering me what's worth my time,
Hmm.
you and I don't have a relationship."
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
it's getting to the point where I actually have a couple of acquaintance bands that are now requiring a percentage of the ring,
Hmm.
because you're getting to the point where you're bringing 800 people to a venue,
Yep.
and the venue is not offering you the money that you should be getting honestly.
Yep.
You have to force it on them.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's going to start changing the landscape. It
Yep.
is, because there's a lot of venues that actually see the writing on the wall,
Hmm.
but they're so scattered out
Yeah.
that what's going to happen is they're going to be the only game in town.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. And kudos to them for recognizing.
Yeah,
You know.
because you have to bring in fresh talent.
Yeah, you do.
You have to.
You know, some of these places that keep I see they recycle everybody. I'm like, it's gonna go away.
Has to go.
You know, how many times are you going to want to see, you know, and that's why we space, even for us, you know, we're all over Florida.
Yeah.
You know, we're going, you know, we're playing at the Daytona Band Shell we're opening for Jada, the Aerosmith band. Next night, we're going up to Destin.
Tommy's a singer in that band.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah,
Ex-cop.
yeah.
Ex-cop, good guy.
And then we're going up the next night, we're going up to Destin to play Club LA. So we're going 6 hours away. You know, it's a total different crowd.
Yeah.
It's a total different area that we're going to be in.
Different atmosphere, different people, different vibe, different everything. And usually what ends up happening when you're in a situation like that, and I can tell you this matter of factly, when I come to Connolly's in West Palm Beach, which is not for every 6 weeks,
Yeah.
they're excited
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
And before we even go on, all the tables are reserved.
Yeah.
And as they start coming in, they're like, "Dude, I'm so fucking glad you guys are back. I'm so happy you guys are back." That's why.
Yeah.
That's why, because if I play Connolly's and then I go down the street and play her competitor,
Right.
I'm not favoring either one, and I'm allowing too much of a choice for my people.
Yeah, and then you're watering down your own product.
And my own crowd. Yeah. Like, I don't want to play to 5 people here and 5 people there.
Yeah.
I want to play to 10 people all in one fucking spot.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. And that's, and that's what everybody, a lot of people won't do. They
won't do it.
I see
$150.
I'll see people put their calendar out there, and I'm like, you're playing right next door to each other. The next day, I'm like, there's got to be something there where people are not going to come.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you this is what happens, and I'm in that situation at the moment where if my band's watching, they're like, "What? Don't say it." I'm never going to mention a name, but you come into a situation in which that you have a couple of bands that draw big numbers for you, and then all these other fucking bands that don't. And what ends up happening is that you're spoiling your profit margin, because if you brought in bands that were the same quality,
right,
even though they cost more money, they'd be making you more money. But instead, what's happening is that those couple of bands that are making you $30,000-$40,000 ring, all that profit is going to pay the bands that are not covering their own tabs.
Yeah, because now you're spreading it out over a 7-day period.
Yeah, it's an expense.
Yep.
And these are all things that the average band guy is not thinking about. They're so solely concerned on them and their band, which is understandable, because
but
when
be
you're
smart
thinking
about
it, that guy is having a problem with this bass player's girlfriend, and this guy. So there's other shit going on there where you can't effectively focus on that, and that's where the mastering of the multitasking and lots of copious amounts of marijuana come into play. Is that you have to. Like, I have a little red notebook that I carry fucking everywhere, because I have to keep notes.
Yeah, I'm constant. I keep a ledger of everything. That's because I work on the computer a lot, and I'm like, so I'll keep everything there so that I know, and then I'll keep notes, and then I'll go back to them. Yeah, and one of the other things I notice is how you carry yourself in a venue.
Right.
You act like you think you're the biggest thing, and you don't check your ego out the door. They don't want to deal with you.
No. Venue owners will thank me for this. Clean up after your fucking selves, man. When you leave the stage, that stage should be exactly the way you found it. You got there.
Yep, I agree.
No set lists, no beer bottles, no beer bottle tops, no empty waters, none of that shit. If it's cleaned up by the bar staff while you're breaking down your gear, amen, and thank you very much. Yep. But
do not leave it for them.
Drink and what you leave on that fucking stage is your responsibility, not theirs.
I agree. That's a big thing.
Even you don't know how many times. Look, I haven't paid for picks in like 12 years because I just pick them up. Like, fuck you, people.
The guy that ran sound at the Tin Roof when we played a couple of weeks ago. When we were done, we packed up the trailer and everything else. He came up. He was like, "You cleaned up the stage?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "We're not going to leave."
It freaks them out, man.
He was like,
so
"Thank
not
you."
Done.
Yeah, I mean, I said
cigarette butts, and fucking sky spitting, and all that other shit that people have to deal with.
Yeah, I said to him, I said, "We'd like to leave the stage the way we found it."
Yeah, leave it exactly the way that you showed up. It shows that you respect the people that are paying your salary for the night.
I said it to the band that went on before us when we played at Suck Bang Blow. They had
I love the fucking name of that place.
Oh my god!
I just want to play there to get a T-shirt.
It's off the fucking charts there. It really is. I mean, I had a blast there, and let me tell you something. The crowd is so
Who booked
super.
That? Rich?
Yeah, Rich. Yeah, he got me. He got us in there, and it was just unbelievable. It was. I mean, the people were singing louder than us.
Oh wow!
I was like, wow. I was like really taken back. Yeah. But the band before us, I mean, they had so much alcohol on the stage, and I'm watching them, because we're waiting. We're not going to put our stuff up in there. We're letting them, be considerate. Let them break down.
Give them the time.
Don't do that. So I'm watching and I'm like waiting, and they all got off, but the lead singer, the woman, She went up there and cleaned up everybody's mess.
Wow.
And I actually went up to her and I said, I appreciate that you did that. I said, I'm sure the club appreciates. She goes, we made the mess. We'll clean it up. Yeah. I was like, well, thank you.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, but not everybody is.
No. I don't know where why. I'm going to say New York again.
Yeah.
It's got to be because we were used to, if you were not in the cover scene and you were really pushing your originals, you had 45 minutes off. And
you had to get, you got to get on and get off.
That you brought on off.
You know how many times I broke my stuff down outside of Sundance in the snow?
Yeah, I know.
You had no choice.
We used to play, what the fuck was the name of that place? I think it was the Red Door or Red something in Manhattan, in the Village. It was, second floor up. But you only got a 45-minute set, and you had to break down and come down 2 flights of stairs because there was no fucking elevator in this short little hallway so that the other band can get their shit on. But you did it. You learned how to fucking break your crap down in a speedy amount of time.
Yep.
Clean the stage, pack your shit, and go find someone to get laid with. Like you're actually, the mindset back then was, let's get all this crap done so we can hang out and fucking party.
Yeah.
Now, of course, now I'm just like, let me finish so I can put the Ben Gay on.
Yep, and go home and get some sleep.
Oh yeah,
definitely. One of the things I laughed about is one of the first bands I played with when I came down to Florida. We actually played in Sarasota, and the guys are all great guys, and we're standing on the stage, and the guy that booked us hears what we're talking about. He goes, this is not rock star material. Well, I'm talking about what blood pressure medication I'm taking. The other one's going, oh my, I thought I almost forgot my Lipitor. And then all of a sudden I just started laughing. And I go, do you realize what we're talking about here on the stage? And the guy came up, he goes, I've been listening to you guys for the last 10 minutes. He goes, not rock and roll at all.
Over the years, so as the years go by and my eyesight changes, 2 things: I wear prescription sunglasses to A, see, and B, shade me from stage lights.
Yeah.
And but I find it funny because Eric Stone wears he buys fucking like the dollar store prescription reader glasses in bulk. Like literally has 40 or 50 fucking pairs because he breaks them, leaves them.
My wife does that. Yeah.
And he's like, I refuse to go get good glasses because and it's true.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times at the end of a gig there's a pair of broken fucking reader glasses.
This is on this.
Yeah. He's gonna kill me for spilling a secret. But as we get older, the shit that changes. We were laughing about it the other day. Actually, hang on. Let me get it. I'm going to show you what my fucking cheat sheet looks like. My cheat book. Oh, no, I don't have it in here. Anyway, I have of course, I grew up having, you put your cheat lyrics on the floor. Little things to keep you in pace. So I've always done it that way, and it never changed. I don't want the teleprompter. I'm so used to peering down at a piece of paper. I literally had to go buy an artist's sketch pad or whatever pad that was 14 by 17 pages, and I do 11 and a half by 14 with like a 57 fucking font just to be able to see, because I'm at that point now where I'm blind as a bat.
Yeah, no.
I can't watch TV. I can't work on a computer. I can't nothing. I gotta have glasses on.
No, it's just funny how time changes things. It's like and we're like, oh my god, it's 12 o'clock. I got to start driving home.
Yeah,
it's like
and then you look down and you're like, fuck, it's gonna be 3:30. Here, this is why guys like New York guys don't mind this. Why another mindset. Growing up in the, I don't know what it's like there now because I haven't been back in a long time, but bars generally don't close till 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So people don't go out until 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock, because even though they left work at 5:30, the commute home didn't get them there for 2 hours. So 7:30 they got home, threw some food down, took a shower, picked up their friends or whatever, and by the time they went out to a club, it was 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And the party starts. So now the band is playing 4 sets of 45-minute sets with 20-minute breaks until 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
4 a.m. you break down.
Yep.
So then you're packing up the fucking car. You don't leave the venue until 5 a.m.
Yep.
You're driving home, and you got to be at fucking work at 8.
Yep.
You know, but that's what you did.
And usually between 12:30 and 2 was like the prime slot.
Yes.
You know, that because that's when it was the most crowded at any place, and that's where you knew.
Well, it's like the second set here.
Yeah.
So in cover band land,
Mm-hmm.
you guys are a different story because you have, you know, you're selling tickets to most of these events, and it's a start time, and people understand that. But for us, you know, people know Shovelhed goes on at 8 o'clock at Earl's.
Mm-hmm.
The first set is as everybody is filtering in, because honestly, it's almost a little bit too early. 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
But if you go to 9 o'clock as the start, then it runs too late, and you lose the people at the end of the night. So the first set is a trickle-in set, usually. Mm-hmm. Second set is the big set. Yep. Every fucking buddy and his brother is there for the second set. And then people start to trickle out on the third set. That's normally the way that it goes. However, lately it seems that we've been keeping people early and to the end, because some venues they have to reserve tables. And people are starting to catch on that, like, if I don't fucking get there early, I'm not going to have a decent place to sit. So, and that's fortunate. We're very lucky, very fortunate to have been able to build it to that point. And it sucks for them because I've gotten complaints. Yeah. I mean, but I can't help that. Yeah. You know, I'm sorry. Yeah. But that's what you want.
Yeah. Well, we have a couple of shows, like we're playing Main Street next week.
Yes, Main Street Station.
Yeah, we're psyched about it.
A great show.
We're actually doing 2 sets there.
Oh,
she asked, because it's just us that night. So she she asked us to
keep them around.
And I said, no problem. So we sat. I sat down and I thought about it. I said, okay. I said, so what we're going to do is the first set is going to be all like the harder songs. Right. You know, that like a true Creed fan would know, and some of the songs that people that are not true Creed fans may have seen the video. And then we're going to take our break. And then the second set, we're going to come out and redo a whole nother set, and it's going to be all the hits. So
just pause. Remember where you are. Mm-hmm. This is the smartest fucking thing that I've been offering this to for Eat Crow. Mm-hmm. Okay. Normally a tribute band plays 90 minutes.
Right.
That's an hour and a half. Okay. It's not a lot of time to collect enough money in drinks to usually recuperate the $4,000 or $5,000 cost that a good tribute band costs. So what I did was, when I work with Eat Crow, I offer it like this. I'm more than aware that that's not enough time.
Yeah.
And that in order for you to make a profit, that means now you have to bump your prices on your drinks, and that's not fair. I'll get you more people and you keeping your prices cheaper. But let's do this. I'm going to break that up into 2 1-hour sets.
Yep.
I'll do an hour set. I'll take a break, and I'll do another hour set. Rather than 90 minutes, now I'm going to give you 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Same price. Mm-hmm. And this is why it allows the whole band to take a breather. Mm-hmm. Okay. Adjust any issues that you're having, instead of going full straight 90 minutes straight through. You get a little bit of a break. You give the bar an intermission to now go crazy selling drinks. And if they don't, shame on them. Right. That's the half hour where they should have shot girls. They should have, or shot guys, shot
whatever.
Fucking somebody, yellow shots, and you name it. There should be someone walking the crowd. They don't do that here.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and then now, and that, I don't understand it, because you're just throwing fucking money out the window.
Yep. I mean, even Suck Bang Blow, they had girls all over doing
all over.
There was a Jello shot girl. There was a shooter girl. There was
Main Street Station does. She knows. Phaedra knows what she's fucking doing.
And we have actually two, because we offer an hour set, we offer an hour and a half, and then we also have a complete 2-hour set.
Right.
So what we did is we have 2 different 1-hour sets. So we actually have
enough
full
material.
But we actually, when we come back out for the second one, it's like you're coming to see a
whole new show.
Yeah. We have an intro. We have a whole a whole way to start that one that's different than the first one.
That's awesome.
So that's, and it's reading the room,
right.
Knowing, so I said, me and the guys talked. I said, look, everybody's going to be filtering at 8:00, 8:30. I said, so we're going to give them the good songs. We open that set. I'll give it out. We open with Bullets. That's how Creed opens. And we do that, and we do, like I said, songs that were popular, but maybe a little bit more on the heavier side,
right.
So that once everybody gets in and they start getting some drinks, the next one we're going to come out with every hit,
right?
That everybody knows, Arms Wide Open, Higher.
That's the way I structure my sets.
Exactly.
Too, is that my first set is the band's warm-up set?
Yeah,
and it's specifically because people are trickling in and or eating. Okay,
yeah.
I don't want to sit down and eat and have my ears blown out by the band. So I get it. So that's the set, and where you're doing, the ZZ Top Tush.
Yeah.
Talking cover band wise, the ZZ Top Tush, the Peter Framptons, the things that are not going to blow someone's fucking brain away.
Right.
Because, and then what you do is you structure that. As you see that room filling in.
Yep.
We don't play with a set list either, by the way. And this is specifically for this reason.
You're able to call audibles the whole time.
I'm reading the room.
That's the biggest thing.
When I get to this, we get to a point where you start seeing an entire 50 or 60 people standing directly in front of the stage dancing. You want to keep them going for as long as you fucking can.
Yes, that's exactly
correct. And we do that. And everyone in the band knows this. So what'll happen is we'll be playing, say something, Sweet Child of Mine comes up, and then everybody realizes that everybody's locked. The whole group is locked in out there dancing.
Yep.
And then I'll turn over to Eric, and I'm like, okay, next song, start Shook Me All Night Long. And then as soon as Shook Me All Night Long's over, Patrick is already starting I Was Made for Loving You. And then, and then I'll go for 5 songs.
Yeah.
To the point, then I need a fucking break.
Yeah.
But
you're keeping the people there.
Yeah. And now the science behind that is they just dance their fucking asses off and they're exhausted. They're going to go get a drink.
Yeah.
Whether it's a soda, a fucking drink,
whatever
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If they have a drink, they're going to go back and finish that drink, and then they're going to need another drink.
Right.
And so my issue is that I need to see the business change around here.
Yeah.
I need to see the people that I used to go to this. When I worked for the phone company, that was my job on Long Island, and they used to send us to Altamont Springs for training. So for every year we'd come down for a week. You get a week's worth of training on whatever the new systems were and all this other shit. But for us, that was party time. We'd come down, we'd spend a day drinking at every bar in Epcot, and then whatever. And there was a bar when Church Street Station was awesome to go to. They used to, I don't know if they still do. They used to close the street. And there was a bar there that I swear was called Tumbleweeds or some shit like that. And it was 3 floors. And before you even got into the bar, it was gated off in the street because the street was closed down and each place was allowed to put outside. Before you walked into the gated section, there was a fucking girl with a beer trough selling dollar beers. And there was a line of dudes wanting to get beers, whether it's from this girl because she's very well endowed or
whatever it was.
It's $1. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Line before they got in. Once they got in, there was groups of tables. Every table was full of people with waiter service and shot girl service is going on. You went inside the fucking place. The first floor was like one theme. Second floor was all daiquiris and shit like that. The second floor was a different theme, and then there was a top floor. Now, granted, there's no 3-story places here where you can pull off shit like that. But the concept was turnover. So the beer trough girl is now taking all of the beer guys that want a quick fucking beer away from the bartender who has to mix drinks, because now she could spend more time mixing more $high drinks. And why does a band guy have to be John fucking Taffer? Like I should be able to just go in there and concentrate on being the band.
Yeah.
Now, why do I have to teach a fucking lesson and say, open up that side fucking bar because I'm waiting a half an hour for a drink in between sets.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have to wait.
Yeah.
Not 1 minute.
Yeah.
But kindly, I wait in line like everybody else.
Yeah.
Why do I gotta wait a half an hour for a fucking drink? No. The problem is you're not making enough money because you're not staffed well enough.
Right.
You knew damn well we were going to be here. You knew there's going to be 600 to 800 people. Why is that bar not open?
Mm-hmm.
You could be paying 5 people's salary out of what you can make on that bar.
Mm-hmm.
So your profit margin instantly goes up. But I think that we were forced to think that way because the only way for us to make any money growing up, selling and playing our own shit was to be in charge of the ring, be in charge of the door. Don't you remember having a friend with a counter clicker at the door because you knew the club was never going to tell you the truth? So you had to fucking have a guy counting the 100 people that came in while the club owner says, you only had 20. Nah, man, I had my brother was standing there, with the clicker.
Yeah. We used to get the pitch count clickers.
Yeah. That's why I think they can't get away with these things from us for too long because at some point you get to a level where you could say, you know what, look, man, you want to argue with me, you want to nickel and dime me, you want to play the game, I'm going to go down the street. I'm going to take these 600 people down the street. I don't need it.
And also, if a lot of places, they want to see your ticket ring.
Yeah.
So,
I want to see my ticket.
Yeah,
I want to know what my ring is because it tells me whether or not I'm providing you a good enough service.
I agree. Yeah.
And most of the times they're not going to tell you.
No. Unless you go up and ask them and say, ask them, what was the ticket count tonight?
Right.
Or can can you send me if it's an Eventbrite or something like that, can you send me the final total, email it to me so I can see what was sold and what you did as a walk up as well. Because the bigger places want to know. They want, they don't want to.
And honestly, I think that if you approach the bar now, right? If you approach the right bar now, and you ask them if they wouldn't mind sharing what your ring was that night, I think that if you were speaking to the right person that understood that you were asking it for the right reason, they wouldn't have a problem sharing that with you. But you have to build that relationship prior to asking the question.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because otherwise, you just look like a guy that's going to find out, well, how much am I worth?
Yeah.
And that's not the way that you need to go into this situation operating. The operation in your mind is, how do I achieve more so you achieve more?
Right.
And how do we achieve more as a team together?
Right.
That's the bottom line.
And then if we're going to play here again, just like you said, we did X amount. What do we need to do different for the next time?
How do I increase your profits next time?
That's the whole goal, because if you're not doing that for that venue, they don't want you back.
They don't. You're not worth it.
They want to deal with people that want to partner with them. And that's all. It's partnerships.
That's the difference between a larger venue and a smaller venue, or a venue that sees a potential in a band that works for their sake of argument. OCC. Okay, now we come from 3 hours away.
Yeah.
In order for me to build a fan base at OCC, I have to put as much time and energy over there as I do over here, and that's impossible.
Yeah.
So they have a vision where they say, you know what, these guys are that good enough for us to be able to say, I want them, because when they come to entertain my enormous audiences, they hold them all the way through.
Yeah.
And that's all I need, because at some point here, that's how you grab that audience. Now, the next time I come back, there's 30 or 40 or 100 more people, and so for them and for me, for them, it's quality, and for me, it's a fan base. And in the long run, we end up holding this relationship together that works for both.
Yeah.
And you have to have it, because you want to come back. You
Yeah,
want to
of
be
course.
back at Buddha Live. You want to be back at...
I don't want to do it once, and then, because then people are going to be like, how come you only played there once?
Right.
You know, what was the reason? And that's not what you want. You want to make an impact every time you play.
Right.
And you want...
Well, see, and that's another idea that's another thing where people don't see, and the haters like to say things where they don't understand, is that, like my Crow band with my friends at Tipsy Tiki. there have been a few reschedulings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the two of us work together, because we know in order to bring a tribute into a bar that doesn't normally have tribute, we have to do it and maximize it to the best possible potential for that venue.
Right.
Because otherwise it doesn't work for me.
Right.
And so I have no problem making a change.
Mm.
And the guys in the band don't have a problem making a change. And the guys at the bar don't have a problem making a change, because together you're not screwing anyone over.
You're working to a common goal.
To a common goal that is for the better of both entities.
Absolutely.
You know, and people get lost in the selfishness of it.
Yeah, and that's...
You got a jet?
No. And that's what makes them want to work with you.
Yeah.
You know, again, to me, like I said, I only want to work with in a partnership with people.
Yeah.
You know, and I like when Rich tells me, oh, you know, the place loved dealing with you guys. You know, they said you came in very professional. You were very easy to deal with. You were accommodating to every situation. They want you back. You know,
Amen. They're paying my paycheck.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's. I don't want to hear, you know, oh, I got to report back that you guys were assholes.
There was no celery sticks.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
The fuck.
You know, I mean, we could care less. We just, you know, we just want to play a good venue. A lot of people entertain, and we want both the band to succeed and also the venue to succeed.
Entertain.
For them.
That's the key. That's the key for me. I can't do it without being an entertainer.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to be. Yeah. We're supposed to be the entertainment. You know, we're supposed to entertain those people for however many hours we're there.
Find an identity
and run with it.
That is you naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Own it, live it, and people will see that. They buy into it. And they want it because they're attracted to that because it's a trait that they don't have, but they want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when they see it that it's genuine, they flock to it.
Yeah.
You know, you could be the greatest Kiss cover band in the world, but if you're using all tracks, it's compared to the cover band that does all their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you the one that does all their own stuff is going to have a much better and much solid fan base than the one that's pumping vocals through that.
Exactly. I'll sit there and if I see a band, any band, and I see it's overproduced that way, I'm like, this isn't entertainment to me. No. You know, I get, you know, some people, you know, especially when you got to fly keyboards in or something like that, that's fine. You know, we do it. I mean, I don't want to, otherwise we'd have to have 7 guys on stage. Right. You know, but that's a thing too, where there's not keyboards in every Creed tune, right? No. But in some of the bigger hits, there are. Right. You know, there are a lot of keyboards, and there's like they use mandolins and stuff like that. They got like a lot of nuances that until you actually sit down and pay. Yeah, then you're like, and then that's what I think makes us a little different, you know, because we're actually giving you a show. Right. We're trying to emulate and tribute the band that we're tributing. We're paying tribute to them. We want you to come out and say, okay, those guys went a step above and beyond. Yes. They didn't just come out and just play the songs. There's guys out there that can play the songs great. I never take that away from them, but they're not offering a product. Right. You know, we're offering a product so it's the next best thing than to go see Creed. Yeah. You know, the beauty of it too is that your stage set up really doesn't have to include too many props. It's more lighting and smoke. Yeah. Where like a Motley Crue tribute band is reliant upon the costumes. Yep. And if the costumes look cheesy, the band is just cheesy. Yeah, you know? Absolutely. 100% agree on that. That's a bonus. There's a costume aspect of it. Yeah, it's you know, they're minimalists. That's why an Eagles tribute is easy to do, because you're not going to find a Don Henley lookalike and give a shit. Because nobody's going to care as long as it sounds like the Eagles. Yeah. No, and you know, for us, it's, you know, it's really pretty Scott Stapp. It's either you wear the wife beater, you know, leather pants and no shirt, leather pants, no shirt, or you know, George got to work out just to stay in the band. Yeah, right. Yeah. I think I told you last time. I told him I bought you a new pair of leather pants. I go, but I got them a little bit bigger so that you can grow into them. But yeah, I mean, he has totally stepped up his game. I mean, he's really, like I said, the last show we were like, all right, we're banging on all cylinders.
Yeah.
You know, and we actually all.
It's a beautiful feeling.
You know, when Randy, my bass player, usually turns around to me, he's usually giving me the old fuck look.
Right.
And he turned around and he had a big smile on his face.
Yeah, we have two different looks.
Yeah.
We have the what the fuck.
Yeah.
And the,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know exactly. You know, I know the eye roll. I know, you know, people.
Eric and I have the same.
Yeah,
kind of thing,
and people don't know, like, you know, like my wife's asked me, she's like, what are you guys talking about up there? I go, don't worry.
Yeah,
right?
don't ask.
You know, I'm
like,
she's you know, I go, and she said to me, she goes, this time it looked like when you guys were turning to each other, you guys had big grins on your faces.
Yeah.
I said, we finally hit that stride.
They all think that you're saying, man, did you see the tits on that girl? But really what you're doing is like, dude, that run was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Or, holy shit, you guys locked in. Like,
yeah, that's, you know, and we're actually like looking at each, and then all of a sudden it just, the next song's even better, and then it gets better and better and better because we're in a really good mood. We're in a good headspace, and
you're in a situation where you're actually playing off each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of being focused on the production of what you're doing.
Yep.
Like that is it's like such an awesome feeling.
It really is. I like that. I haven't had that feeling in so long, you know.
Do you remember the very first time in my life that I ever had my own front of house and monitors sound guys? Was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It was the very first big stage that I ever got to play where the whole production was like fucking professional.
Yeah.
And it was the very first time that I ever had a guy completely dedicated to just listening and EQing my monitors.
Wow.
And I thought, and I had in-ears.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the greatest thing in the fucking world because I don't have to scream on top of the band.
Nope.
Like it changed my life.
Yeah,
you know,
it really
like
does.
Vocally wise, it totally changed my life. And I was just like, the guy also used a Neumann a KMD 50, which is probably the best fucking mic you can use ever live. It's $500, so I never owned one.
Yeah. But
the clarity was just everything was fucking on fire.
Yep.
And I was like, I hope the rest of my life ends up like this.
I know it's you know, fortunately we have you know, Isam does all our stuff and he controls our in-ears and stuff, but we dedicate a couple of hours
to
a
those
month
mixes, right?
to you know, George, what are you missing? You know, let's play a song. Tell us what you're missing. What do you need more of? What do you need less of? I do the same thing, and we all have our own controls.
Yeah,
you know, so
we do too, yeah.
You know, and it definitely. I mean, and places love that. They're like, you mean to tell me we don't have to do your stuff? And we're like, no, we got it all self-contained.
Yeah.
And we've worked it out. We spent time with it. You know, we with everything, and it's important that you do it.
You travel with a sound system too, or you just plug into their?
It's everything's true. He's got an interface.
Okay.
Everything that he has everything go through. He's got a Y splitter on there. And everything goes through there, and then he goes directly to their snake, and we're able to control, you know, so we save our mixes, obviously, you know, but, you know, depending if you play outside.
It always changes.
Every venue is going to be a little different that you got to tweak.
We have a basic master mix. I think I told you this last time. I hired a friend of ours, Tommy Gaynor, to mix our, just to give me a basic EQ that I could work with.
Yeah.
Because finding your own sound guy down here
is impossible.
A fucking difficult task.
Yeah, and the other thing I found with they want to run your show for you,
right? And
I'm like, you know, I want you to just concentrate on making, you know, we're not out there,
right?
You know, I need you to do that. I don't want you to run my show. You know, because then you're throwing us off because you don't know what our show consists
exactly.
of.
We have they're used to playing with guys that are just playing off the cuff and going and not putting on a full ass production of a show.
Yeah.
You know, instead of a couple of fucking dudes coming up there playing 90 minutes of Poison material, which you don't need to be clicked in. You don't need to have a production going. You don't need to have all that kind of shit.
Right.
It's not the same animal.
No, not at all. It's
not.
No, not one bit.
But a lot of venues here, they want that production at a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the costs that really go into it.
Yeah. I mean, we have one show that we got to, and Isam is a sound guy, so he's got a great system.
Right.
And we have somebody that will come and mix us for that because Isam can't play and do front of house.
We can't do that. It drives us fucking crazy when we have to.
Yeah.
There's only a couple of situations in which it's easy for us to do it.
Yeah.
But again, it comes from growing up on Long Island where we could only afford PAs that were big enough to handle the vocals.
Yeah.
So you had to learn how to stage mix everything not in the vocal, not in the PA except for the kick drum and the vocals and be able to hear it
out there
in a mix. And those years of doing that paid off here because small venues, well, when I say small venues, indoor venues like Connolly's, which holds a couple of hundred people, subs are too much.
Yeah.
It bounces off the ceiling. It makes it an unenjoyable experience.
You've got to know the room. You've got to read it, and you got to understand what you can and cannot do.
And a good sound guy does that.
Yeah.
There's more guys here that said, I'm just going to buy equipment and be a sound guy than there are guys that know what they're actually
And then they come in there and they pump the shit out of their subs and everything, and everything sounds like,
You play the Twisted Fork yet?
No, we haven't played it.
Fucking good.
Yeah,
like really good.
Yeah, I know. I've seen videos from them.
So is Brian at OCC. When you get to go over there.
Yeah.
Have you played there yet?
No, soon. That's coming up.
Brian will be your sound guy, and his team is fucking incredible.
Yeah, I've never seen anything but great things come from there. We're spread out over the next couple of months, and then
next is what? Main Street?
This Friday night is Buddha. Next Friday night is Main Street. Okay. Then we're off until July 12th. We'll be at Wild Rover Brewing Company.
So wait a second, dates. This Friday is the 6th.
June 6th, Buddha Live in Fort Myers. And then Friday the 13th,
nice.
We're playing Main Street Station in Daytona Beach. July 12th, we'll be in Tampa. We're playing the Wild Rover Brewing Company. It's a very cool, intimate room.
Oh.
Really. Oh my God, it's such a great sounding room and so intimate. It's really cool.
Is it?
And that's the only place in the area that has live music, so it's always packed.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So it's a really, really cool place. Then August 15th, we're opening for Jaded, the Aerosmith tribute band at the band shell in Daytona. The next night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's their summer
concert series. Yeah. We were fortunate to get on it this year, because that's booked like a year in advance.
Yeah, if not more. Sometimes. Yeah.
So then the next night, August 16th, we're traveling up to Club LA we're playing a 2-hour show there.
Damn. That's cool.
Then September 3rd, we're going to Boca Black Box with Godsmack tribute band. We're doing Legends Unleashed, we call it. The 6th, we're in Huntsville, Alabama. We're playing Shags. So we're starting to travel. Then the 12th, we're playing at the Lou Sobe Amphitheater in Georgia.
You guys realize the band is a year old.
Yeah.
1 year old. So ask yourselves what you're not doing right.
We're going up to Pennsylvania. We'll be playing there. We're just waiting for our confirmed dates. Plus, there's stuff in Huntsville, Birmingham, Tennessee. So we're starting to get out there.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it is. It's and fortunately,
Sturgis.
I love that. I would love to.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, that's like the. That's the show of all shows.
Like, just fucking put me on before or after Jackal or some shit.
Yeah.
Let me entertain them as the afternoon
whatever crowd. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I got to say, from going to do
I got some originals. I'll whip them out.
We're doing the Myrtle Beach Bike Week. I mean, it's just I love that. And the bike shows, festivals, they love us. Great. They love the and then we already started. They started booking us in January. My birthday, January 10th. We're playing. I got to look at it. We just got it. I don't want to say it wrong.
January? Did you say January?
Yeah. We're already into January. They're starting already in there.
Yeah, my whole 26 is booked already now too.
Good for you. Yeah, we're just.
I got lucky. I did.
What is it?
2 weeks. The whole schedule came together.
That's awesome. It's called Gibtown Bike Festival.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're playing the main stage on Saturday, January 10th.
Gibtown, Leesburg. There's one. What is that other one? Shit. I was gonna play it. We were gonna play it too, and then we got into a different. It's up in Pensacola area. Not Saint. I don't fucking know. Then you got St. Pete. That's building. That's the Bert's Bike Week. Bike.
This Leesburg.
They're all and they're good.
Yeah,
like every one of them is good. And when we play Main Street Station for Biketoberfest or Bike Week, you're guaranteed to be playing in front of 5,000 or 6,000 people.
Yeah.
When this year we're playing with Blackberry Smoke.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a great show.
At OCC's Bert's Biketoberfest, Bike Fest, and that is going to be overloaded. I'm saying there's going to be 8,000.
Oh, easily. Yeah, easily. Yeah, so, easily.
It's really fun.
It really is.
The biker rallies are just so.
They
much
really
fun.
are, and like I said, I was shocked that we've been requested at a lot of bike events, and I'm like, really? Richard's like, yeah, he's like the biker community loves you guys.
You got to figure that that it is kind of road music when you think about it. A lot of it is road music,
Yeah.
And I would imagine that the tune "Take Me Higher" resonates with a shitload of people.
We end every show with them.
Like a shitload of people.
They wait for that song.
I'm sure.
Yeah, they wait for that song.
It's an you can knock on them all. People can knock on bands that go pop all they fucking want. But the emotion in that song when it came out, and even to this day when you hear them do it or you see them do it, I always think that Scott Stapp's a bit of a over exaggerator, but that's what makes him him.
Yeah.
And so when he does that live, it's almost like a religious experience.
It is.
Like it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
It's one of those songs.
It really is.
Just like wow.
Yeah, and that one
is touching everybody.
That one and actually My Sacrifice.
Right.
It's like we took off something that they do live. He comes out and he starts it off. He goes, I'm going to start it off for you, and he'll start the first line, and then lets the crowd sing the rest of it.
Yeah.
We did that in Suck Bang Blow, and we did that at Tin Roof. Everybody, they were louder than us.
Wow. Dude, that's fucking wild.
I was like, we looked at each other like, that's bad.
That's in this situation where I go, motherfucker, why couldn't I have wrote this?
Yeah, you know, right? yeah, I know. Yeah. But it's badass. I mean, when you look at it and I'm like, wow, I'm like, I never had that happen before.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's insane.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah. But
that's why I love music.
Exactly.
Entertaining with music.
Yeah. When you do it.
I couldn't be a comic.
No.
I couldn't. No. Maybe I could go into. I could have done acting, but I don't think I have the. I
need my security of my drums, and then I like the band dynamic.
When you say that, it's fucking funny because I am so used to playing fucking guitar that it's become somewhat of a crutch.
Yeah.
That as a vocalist, as a guitar player, I'm stuck in a spot because I'm singing lead vocals.
Right.
And so like I can't express myself guitar wise the way that I would. Like there's no guitar mouth going. There's no none of that shit happening because I have to sing. And when I don't, like now when we do Van Halen, there's no point in having a second guitar except for something like Ain't Talking About Love. So I put my guitar down and I get out and I do the fucking lead singer type of thing, but I feel naked.
Yeah.
Because I don't have my guitar on anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, now I got to get back into that thing.
Yeah.
I've done both.
Yeah.
I've been just the singer and I've spent a lot of time being the singing guitar player to avoid having a fifth member.
Yeah.
Like honest to God's truth.
Yeah.
It's all been about avoiding having to have a fifth member because I don't want to divide the money up anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, understandable. But yeah, I said that to my wife when we were talking. She was like, I go, my drums are like, it's like my shield. I go, I'm very comfortable.
You don't do plexiglass, do you?
No.
Could you imagine?
Oh.
There's a couple of guys I've seen lately doing club gigs with them.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I could never fucking sit behind that.
No, I would feel claustrophobic.
I would be so disconnected.
Yeah.
Even though I'm there, I would
it's
feel
not the
so
same.
Disconnected.
Yeah, it's not the same. It definitely isn't. I've been asked once before, and I said no, I won't do it.
Yeah.
In the previous band, and I said no, it's not me.
I get it on the guitar.
Yeah. In
an atmosphere where it's coming to the PA anyway, but you can't fucking do that to a drummer, make him feel like he's caged in a.
Yeah, I just and I was okay. I said to the band that asked me to do that, and I said, look, that's just not me. Maybe you need to find a drummer that does that.
Amen.
And I'm okay with that.
That's see, that's the other problem is that some guys get so complacent, they stay in a situation that they're completely unhappy with, and it is so visible.
Yep.
On a stage. Yep. Like when your bass player could care less to be there.
Yep. Exactly.
Just fucking going through the motions. People pick up on that.
Absolutely. They want to see. They want to see you having just as much fun as they are.
Yeah. The more you smile, the more the more that you guys are interacting with each other, so that they think. They see you having a good time.
It makes them want
drawing them into that.
Yep, exactly.
Instead of making them feel disconnected from it. There's the whole game involved with the connection and creating a vibe of togetherness.
Yeah.
Even if it is only for 3 hours or 2 hours.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever the fuck it is.
I don't care if it's 20 minutes. It's that 20 minutes. I want the best of that moment.
Yeah. And I don't need them to go home remembering my name. No. I need them to go home remembering the band.
I've said that 100 times. I don't care if you know me or not. Yeah. Do you know my band's name? Because you're not following me.
That's
you're
right.
going to follow
the band. As much as I own Shovelhed.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It takes Patrick, Eric, and Eric.
Yep. To make it
Shovelhed.
I agree. We're all equal. Each of us bring a certain thing to the band.
Yeah.
And that's what I want everybody to remember. I don't want to be known as this drummer or that. I want to be known as the band that you want to come see.
Exactly.
That's it. Because I'm not up there doing an hour of drum solos.
If there's anything you guys are going to take away from this today, it's that. That's the lesson.
Yes.
All right, let's do this. Let's cut this.
All right.
That was a good way to end it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna edit the shit out of this.
No worries, man. I appreciate. Thank you for having me on again.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Next time I'll bring George with me.
Yes.
All right.
I told him. I said let's do it.
He's a character. He's a character. So
I posted the other day to him that he's got to come down here.
Yeah. He told me that. So I told him. I said we'll get one done where I'll bring him down here.
He give me his workout routine. So I can start taking my shirt off.
Yeah, exactly. Actually.
All right, guys, go out, check out Human Clay next week at Buddha Live at Lake Worth.
No,